Hi everyone, let me share you our presentation of our environment education project. The name of our project is Wildlife Sanctuaries and Parks of Goa. Our project guide is Dr. Neena George. I am very much thankful to you ma'am. And the group members which are involved in this project are myself Ronisha Corte, followed by Hina Nashipudi, Jocelyn Colaco, Rahul Gaonkar and Prashant Gaonkar. So we all five of them together worked in this project. So in this project I will be discussing about the background of the project, introduction and the five types of wildlife sanctuaries and one Mollem National Park and the activities which are done by the students. So in this background of the project we discussed how we have planned the project. First we planned the project. What matter would come in stepwise. Then we visited Kotika Wildlife Sanctuary and collected all the information which are required for our project. And then after collecting, we prepared one beautiful presentation by all we five of us and presented this PowerPoint presentation in two schools, that is in Mother of Mercy High School at Vasco in 6th standard class, and other school is Sri Mallikarjun Vidyalaya High School in Kanakona for 8th standard class. And the last, the activities which are done by the students. So first, what is wildlife sanctuaries and parks of Goa? Let me give a brief introduction about this. So in this, Goa, it covers an area of about 754.96 km, in which it forms 60% of the forest and 20% of the geographical area of the state. Here, our state animal is called Indian Bison and the state bird is ruby-throated yellow bulbul. And we also found common animals which are found in these protected areas and variety of reptiles and other animals which are come across the borders, and of course a diverse range of colorful birds which they form with their enchanting beauty of sounds. So this is all about our wildlife sanctuaries and parks of Goa. Here this is the picture of the state bird ruby-throated yellow bulbul and the state animal god Indian bison. Now, wildlife sanctuary is an area where animal habitats and the surroundings are protected from any sort of disturbances. So here in these areas, following activities are banned like capturing, killing, poaching and which is strictly prohibited. And the main aim is providing a comfortable living at, for the animals. National Park. National Park is a park in use for conservation purposes, created and protected by national governments. Often it is a reserve of natural, semi-natural. So this is the national park which is protected by national government. Now, this is the list of the wildlife sanctuaries and parks of Goa. There is only one Mollem National Park, which is situated in Sange Taluka. And there are altogether 6 wildlife sanctuaries, that is Ponda Wildlife Sanctuary, which is situated at Ponda, Chora Wildland, Dr. Salim Ali Wildlife Sanctuary, situated in Tiswadi Taluka, Kotika Wildlife Sanctuary in Kanakona Taluka, Mahadev Wildlife Sanctuary in Satari Taluka, Mollem Wildlife Sanctuary. Now it is renamed as Bhagwan Marvel Wildlife Sanctuary in Sangya Taluka and Nitravali Wildlife Sanctuary in Sangya Taluka. So these are the all national park and wildlife sanctuaries. This is the map of Goa in which we can see wildlife sanctuaries. Salim Ali Bird Sanctuary, Ponda Wildlife Sanctuary, Bhagwan Marvel Wildlife Sanctuary, and the last Kodika Wildlife Sanctuary, which is situated at south of Goa. Now, first we'll discuss about Ponda Wildlife Sanctuary. Ponda Wildlife Sanctuary is situated at the northeastern region, which has a variety of flora and fauna, and it has also a small zoo in which we can see variety of animals. So if we are thinking to trip to Ponda, it will surely be worth of your time and money, and it will serve as a refreshing change from the city's cacophony. So these are the pictures, some of the animals and birds which are found in this Ponda Zoo. These pictures we had captured by our own. Peacock, Indian bison, gaur, anaconda, crocodile, peasants and birds, ostrich. Now next we'll see Kodika Wildlife Sanctuary. This sanctuary is located in Kanakona Taluka, which was established in the year 1968, and the key role is in preserving the rich biodiversity of the stretch of moist deciduous forest in Goa. And the main aim is, if they found any animals, they give well treatment and then they shift to Ponda Wildlife Sanctuary. Here we can see that in this sanctuary we found variety of flora and fauna, and they are well captured. Most animals which are found like leopards and tigers, and population of panther still remains. Here some of the animals which are found in this sanctuary, and here in this sanctuary we also found dense jungles which consist of moist deciduous vegetation and semi-evergreen forest. We had visited this Kodika Wildlife Sanctuary, and we first met to the head of the Kodika Wildlife Sanctuary, and then we interviewed with one guard of the wildlife sanctuary, that is Siddesh Naik, and he provided all the information about wildlife sanctuary. And we also visited the tree top which is situated in the Kodika Wildlife Sanctuary. There is one also a small museum in Kodika Wildlife Sanctuary. In that we found skeletons of the Indian bison, skull of tiger, one small baby leopard, pug marks, and other varieties of the birds. Pictures. We also found the plant samplings which are found in Kotika Wildlife Sanctuary. We also visited butterfly park, and in that park we found varieties and types of butterflies. We could not take the picture because of the movements of the butterflies. Here we can see the butterflies, types of butterflies in the picture. Next is Nitravali Wildlife Sanctuary. This wildlife sanctuary is situated in Sange Taluka in eastern Goa. So, it has rich and diverse abode of the wild and also boasts its stunning range of fauna. Here some of the pictures of the Nitravali Wildlife Sanctuary are black panthers, rattler snake, and the bird hornbill or toucan. Next is the Bhagwan Marvel Wildlife Sanctuary. This is one of the biggest wildlife sanctuary which is found in Goa. It covers an area of about 240 square kilometer in Sange Taluka. It has perennial water streams and other flora and fauna which makes this a very enriched in flora and fauna. The most commonly sighted animal in this national park, in this wildlife sanctuary, is that Indian bison, that is called a state animal, and it is found very rare primate species, that is slender loris, which is locally known as van manus. Here we can see the picture of the van manus and other monkey family like macaque and common langur. Here are some of the pictures of the Bhagwan Marvel Wildlife Sanctuary. Next is Salim Ali Bird Sanctuary. This sanctuary is of birds. Here, it is named after the most popular ornithologist of India, Dr. Salim Ali. This sanctuary is a sheer delight for anyone who has a fondness towards rare and exotic birds. In this sanctuary, we can have boat rides within the sanctuary, which take the visitors to some of the areas that are often visited. And in this sanctuary we found variety of local and also migratory bird species like eagles, drongos, kingfishers, kites, mynas, curlews, sandpiper, wrenshank and hooper. So these are some of the pictures of the birds like kingfisher. Next is the last one, Mahadev Wildlife Sanctuary. This sanctuary is located in Satari Taluka near Valpoi town, and it has the Mollem Wildlife Sanctuary, which is the biodiversity, and it is promoted as one of the Project Tiger Reserve due to presence of the Royal Bengal tiger. And it has variety of flora and fauna. And these are the pictures from the Mahadev Wildlife Sanctuary. And the last is Mollem National Park. Mollem National Park is also known as it, which was regarded as the Bhagwan Marvel Wildlife Sanctuary. So this national park is located in Sange Taluka. So first it was a Bhagwan Marvel Sanctuary in the year 1969. It was established and later it was renamed and declared as Mollem Wildlife National Park. It has a variety of rich and endangered wildlife species. Here we can see a variety of the flora and fauna of Mollem National Park. It has around 200 avian species. Now, this is one of the most important slide of the presentation, that is the steps for the protection and conservation of Indian wildlife conservation project. So, we should take following steps in order to protect and preserve and conserve. Get informed about the conservation projects. Say no to the items which are made from the parts of the body of wild animals. Save energy, recycle and reduce consumption. Reduce pesticide and herbicide uses as these are extremely harmful to animals and their habitat. Contribute to conservation by educating people. And the last is for the activities which we had given for the school students, that is newspaper cutouts related to animals and wildlife sanctuaries of Goa. If they found any rare animals, so they can send the pictures or photos to us. And the last, one small assignment based on the picture of the animal, its name, its habitat and other features. And they had surely done a wonderful work by the school students. As we can see the pictures, they had nicely created and staked the pictures of the animals and noted down all the important points, for example the habitat and other features. Here we can see the pictures of wild pig, wild buffaloes and black panthers. And here are some pictures which were sent by the school students. Some of the pictures of the rare animals. They are so beautiful and very rare in nature. And these were the pamphlets which we had collected from the Kodika Wildlife Sanctuary. We had collected from the receptionist of the Kodika Wildlife Sanctuary, Rajeshri Naik. So all thanks goes to her. And it was very informative for us. As I had already told you that we had taken the online Google Meet from the two schools, that is Mother of Mercy High School in Vasco and Sri Mallikarjun Vidyalaya High School in Colaco. And students were very well cooperated with us. We had also taken online Google Form quiz. In this we took feedback from the students and there were altogether 17 responses. And the last is conclusion. So in order to experience nature close hand, one should visit the mysterious jungles and wildlife of Goa. The dense forest, perennial stream and waterfalls provide unique beauty of Goa. And this was one of the wonderful interesting project from our education journey. And this all thanks goes to our man, Dr. Neena George. And at the end, with whole lot of efforts from government and forest department, it is our responsibility at individual level to help to conserve natural vegetation and wildlife. That's all, and this is the reference which we had took the information. This is all from us. Thank you.